Alright guys, hope you're all doing well. Today we learned a lot more about the RPG overhaul on stream. In today's State of the Game, we learned about how recalibration is changing with the new library feature, along with what skill tiers are and how they're going to perform in Gear 2.0. If you enjoy this one, please drop a like, it does help me out. Subscribe for dedicated Division 2 content. And let's begin. So as always in my recap videos, I've made a list of everything in today's State of the Game. I'm going to run through the entire list of everything. I'll include screenshots and all of that good stuff in the video so you guys can see what I'm kind of talking about. And I'm going to offer very little opinion. I will do a follow-up opinion video probably on Friday. So make sure you got your notifications turned on for that one, where I kind of go into stuff a bit more detail and give more of my thoughts and perspective on everything. So let's start. So today it was Hamish with Frederick and Bruce Kelly. Bruce Kelly's been on a few times before. He's kind of the skills guy, so it does make sense that he was here for today's stream. There was only one priority alert, and that was the bug in the Dark Zone, which allowed you to go into certain areas and shoot from behind walls, and that was actually fixed yesterday. Of course, if you do come across that, then please report it as soon as possible. They then pretty much moved on to recalibration and skill tiers, which is what we're going to learn about today. So to start off with, they gave bullet points of kind of last week's State of the Game and stream, Gear 2.0. If you don't know anything about that, please go check out my video for last Wednesday where I kind of go over everything, as well as on Friday when I talked about it in a bit more detail. Now, they did want to address one question to start off with, and that was oversimplification. Now, this is a concern of mine, was that with all of these changes on paper, it doesn't feel like the game is going to be quite as deep as it was before. So they wanted to address that. Now, they essentially said, initially it won't look as deep, which is what I said, but right now in the live game, there's not many impactful talents. So you're not really making choices, i.e., you're using hard hitting. Most people are just running hard hitting on every build for PvE because it's best in slot. So you're not really making choices because you know you have to go for that. With Gear 2.0, there are going to be 20 odd talents on backpacks and then on the chest piece as well. And there's a lot more viable combos as well now in Gear 2.0. They've made it so that talents are a lot more viable. So it's not that there's going to be more, it's just that you're going to want to choose more because everything seems to be more balanced and more viable. You have exotics on top of that, which maintain their talents in all places. You have your gear sets with the amplification talents as well. And then you've got named items. And they did want to stress how much sort of the impact of amplification talents are going to have as well. And as I said, there's going to be more choices and more viable options with Gear 2.0 compared to the live game. And that's why they're going with the deepness. So let's start with RECAL. Now, the design ethos is that the current RECAL is why you have so much crap in your stash and inventory, i.e., you're keeping gear and it's essentially a mess. You go to a vendor and you pick up 5 of the same piece of gear because you want that particular role. Well, what they wanted to do was make it so that it's more intuitive, fun, and they also want allow you to customize as much as you want. Now, they went on to say that the new RECAL has a feature that's very much like the Pokédex, where you find roles and items and you extract those roles into your RECAL library. Now, library being the new feature, then you can use that as many times as you want on gear. You essentially learn the role. Okay, so if you get, say, 20% headshot damage on whatever, a chest piece, and you don't have such a high roll in your RECAL already, then what you can do is you can just extract that roll from that chest piece, pull it into your RECAL, and you've learned that forever, and you can put that onto wherever you want. Okay. Now, you may see some oddities and numbers in these particular screenshots, and they're not representative of the final product, so I must stress that. RECAL talents, stats, core stats, and mod slots at the moment, if you don't, if currently you don't RECAL the right thing, you've kind of lost it. So with this, that's not going to happen. This new system is not going to let that happen because you can RECAL to max. And as I said, you can RECAL mods as well in the new Gear 2.0. And why would you want to RECAL mods is one of the questions that come up. Well, they're dictated by brands. So brand sets have been revamped and they're kind of like a profile. So you probably saw in last week's stream that Gilligard is very much a defensive piece of gear now, defensive brand set. They said that Badger Tough is primarily defensive as well, but secondary will be offensive. I apologise, that's the wrong way around. Badger Tough is primarily offensive, but secondary it's going to be defensive, and it's kind of like a hybrid set. Although there aren't many hybrid sets, that's one of them. And again, guys, I'm going to include some screenshots here as I go through this. So this is a work in progress build. Here you can see kind of normal RECAL, but if you look up into the right hand corner, there is a library tab where you can look at your collection. And what you'll see in this collection here is, what all of your stuff and what you have and don't have. Now, as you can see with masks here, you found weapon damage, armor, and skill tiers. You'll see it says improvement available for armor. Now, if you go on that, and it will basically pull up all your masks, and you can extract the highest roll that you've got from those masks, because it will highlight which mask has the highest roll. And you can go on there, you can extract that, and it will improve that into the library, and it will store that in the library. Like normal RECAL, it will destroy the item, and yeah, that's how it's basically going to work. Now, the question come up again of, well, what happens when you fill the library? Well, you still have to find the piece of gear that you want with max rolls for the other attributes, because RECAL is still only going to allow you one roll. So if you don't find all the other stuff, then it really doesn't make that much difference. But it's there so that if you do need that one, you've got everything else, but you need to roll that one thing to max, then that's what this is here for. Certain gear pieces and slots will be easier to perfect. Knee pads and gloves, for example. Backpacks and chests will be harder to do. And library will start out as a character bound rather than account wide. It's something they're looking into, but at the moment when it comes out, you're just going to be able to do it on the one character. Question come up of how does it tie into crafting? Well, crafting works pretty much the same as before. It's just another source for you to craft items. All stuff in your inventory basically is going to be gone as you just extract the rolls. You don't need to keep stuff in your inventory to save it later. You just extract the rolls, put it into the RECAL station, and then when you want to RECAL something, then you go in your RECAL station, you can pick the highest thing there, and you can put it onto the piece of gear that you've got. And what I will say is that it kind of gives you something to chase. Okay, so when you've got to get the highest damage to elites, which by the way, damage to elites isn't going to be in it, but for example, then it gives you just something to chase, it gives you something to work towards. And very much like a Pokedex, it gives you something to grind for. So again, I'm going off on opinion here, but it looks pretty cool. Now moving on to skill refactorization. So skill tiers are going to replace skill power, and skill tiers scale directly with your skills, if that makes sense. So if you've got skill tier 1, it offers you a certain amount of stats for that particular skill. Skill tier 2 offers you more, so on and so forth. And you're going to see some images on here to show you how it all works. So if you equip, say, the item on screen, you improve your skills directly. There's no modding required. There's going to be 6 skill tiers. And if you wear 6 pieces of gear with all skill tiers, then you have max skill tier, right? So you have the highest amount that you can do with the skills that you have. And skills will show you how good the skill is based on each tier. So when you go into the skill, you'll see the tiers on the side, and it'll tell you what each tier is going to offer. And every skill has different scaling as well. Now, again, I'm going to insert some images here that there could be different variables for different tiers as well. So it could be that for tier 1 and tier 2, for example, you get range, etc. But when you get to tier 4, for example, it could add a different kind of attribute in there that you don't get from the previous tiers, which make it more powerful. Now, tier 1 and tier 2 Flamethrower, I'm going to include 2 images here showing the differences between tier 1 and tier 2 Flamethrower, which what you'll see mainly is kind of the cone is bigger. And also, this is pretty cool, guys. You're going to be able to see in the world what tier the skill is. And that's for both you and for anyone else. So say, for example, in the Dark Zone and you throw down a flamethrower turret, whatever you want to call it, a flame turret, I will be able to see what tier that skill is. So if it's, say, tier 6, then I might just be like, yeah, I'm not going to go anywhere near that. Because that's probably going to destroy me. So that's, again, I think is pretty cool as well. They want to talk about skill mods and what's going to happen with them. I'm going to insert an image of how skill mods are going to look with Year 2.0. You're going to still have them, but they work similar to how weapon mods are going to work. They'll add a little, percentage modifier to that skill, but the main scaling is actually coming from skill tiers. These are kind of just those little finite bits that you can add to anything. There's no requirements for these mods as well, and battery mods are kaput. And when you go to a specific state, there's a new state called Overcharge with skills, and basically you go crazy. So there's a few sources of how you get this overcharge, and I'm going to insert the energized talent screenshot on screen. Now, it says here that using an armor kit grants plus 1 skill tier for 15 seconds. If you already at skill tier 6, it grants overcharge. And now you can potentially overcharge your entire group with some talents as well. It will be for a brief moment. It's not going to last forever. It will give you that brief overcharge. Everyone in your group will know. It will basically be indicated that you're in overcharge, and then the effects happen. But this only happens when you're at skill tier 6 and then you use one of these talents which gives you that overcharge. You're going to have to be at the maximum for skills for this. Now also on screen, if I can include it without any issues with copyright or any stuff like that, I'm going to include a video of a tier 6 build. Not video, sorry, picture and a video as well. Now the video is going to show you what could happen with a flamethrower. Now, if you're watching the video, hopefully it will let me play it, but if you're watching the video, then you can see it just goes crazy. The time it's out for, again, is just work in progress. It's not a true representation of what it's going to actually do, but you can see it's gone crazy. They confirmed that the repair drone, for example, the darts, they go super fast to heal everything. The ballistic shield becomes invulnerable, basically, and the overcharge period is going to vary on the type of skill, because you can imagine you got something like Seeker Mines, for example, they take a little while to deploy, and then they got to roll to their target. It doesn't make sense that once you deploy it, the overcharge starts, but it gets the same time as something else, which immediately activates. So it's going to be, the period of overcharge is going to vary on the type of skill it is. Explosive damage is being removed as a role. And they said that this should put skills on an equal footing. There's only going to be 2 brands which will provide explosive damage as part of their kind of brand talent. And that's it. They also confirmed that skill deployment has been sped up. They didn't say by how much, but it should be quicker to deploy your skills, which is, I think, brilliant news. They confirmed that these changes are going to ultimately affect Dark Zone and PvP, although they are aware that people want more from those particular modes, and this is something they're working on. This is completely unrelated to RECAL and skill tiers. Is kind of at the end of the stream where people were asking questions. They were looking at streams and people's questions and stuff. So they're working on that at the moment. And the one thing devs didn't talk about last week is the higher the difficulty of content, the higher the average quality of gear. Now you can still luck out anywhere in the game, so you could be playing, story mode and still get a max roll of something. But the chances are that if you're playing heroics, you're going to get better gear on average than someone who is not playing heroics. And that's it for today's State of the Game. So as I said, on Friday I'll hopefully have a video out for you guys giving you my opinion on everything. So that's it. If you want to leave any comments down below, please do. Thanks very much for watching, and until the next one, Epic out.